Hello. How's everybody doing? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Hello, everybody. Let's see what we got. Live control room. Stream status is bad. Got the notification. Can you guys, everybody see and hear me? I am enjoying my vegan smoothie. It's got unsweetened organic almond milk, frozen organic banana, frozen organic blueberry, frozen organic strawberry, frozen greens like spinach and kale, maybe one other, and unsweetened organic peanut butter, and vegan protein powder. What's up? Hello from Tasmania. So you guys, do you notice this? I put a new light here. You can see there's a shadow right there. So try to bring a little more light on my face. Is it noticeable? Do you like it? Is it better? Here's what it was without it. Here's how we used to do it. Is like that, right? Kind of dark. And this. Is that better?
Well, little something, little improvement.
It is a cloud brain. Beatrice Pierre, Graham, are you prepping for climate change? No, climate change is a liberal myth. I'm going to just keep drilling for oil and set car tires on fire and go clubbing baby harp seals and buy beachfront property. The better. You like the light? Sweet. Yes, I'm prepping for climate change. That's why I do this show, is to get people to wake up about it. I drive an electric car. I picked up 3 pieces of trash today at the beach. I am reducing my single-use plastic use. Yeah, trying to do everything I can. A little bit of shine on my face. I need more makeup. Ooh, all right. God, that's a snotty thing to say. Maybe that's just this light is too. Maybe that light is too. The audio, is that better? Here, we'll do this. We'll do this. A little bit of makeup. Huh? I don't want to get it too glary. How's that, everybody? Showbiz face. Face of show business. Wow. Everything's better. Sexy. Oh, thank you. I look sexy. All right. I just happen to have the makeup right there. Yeah, man, I got it. I'm on camera. I got to do this. So then I use these oil absorbing makeup sheets. Those are helpful. And then I got this thing. This thing's kind of falling apart. I need new makeup. And then my skin gets irritated easily. So then sometimes I got to put a lot of makeup on. It's crazy business. I'm glad. Oh, thank you, Beatrice, that I look good. Outstanding. Stephen Carl, happy Sunday to Graham and the chat crew. Love from the Santa Cruz Mountains. I hope you're all right up there. I hope the fires they're done here in Southern California. And I know there was a lot of rain in Northern and Southern California. So I hope everything's better for you folks up there. Don't forget you can support the show by hitting the super chat, and then I put the Streamlabs in the, if you go to streamlabs.com/Graham Elwood, you can donate there, and that's using PayPal if you want. So give you some options, because I know some of you don't want to use the Google. It was fun yesterday being on Jimmy Dore's Chatter Day with Mike Preisner and Abby Martin. It was really cool. It's the second time I've met them, and a panel with Abby and this time with Mike is really cool. They're really, you know, they're an inspiration. And then apparently they've, you know, when they got their funding pulled or whatever from Empire Files, they're building their own studio, and they've already started to do interviews. So that's a really cool show to Bare Minerals Original Won't Irritate. I don't know what that means. Is that a type of Bare Minerals? What is that? Is that a type of makeup? I don't know what that means. Independent outsider, what, if anything, is being done about those displaced by the Cali fires? That's a great question. You know, I know there's still Red Cross shelters up there. There's some people just living in tents. It's a pretty gnarly situation. They're trying to do the best that they can about it, but it's I don't know. At least in Southern California, I'm not as aware about Northern California. In Southern California, the evacuations have lifted. So everyone whose homes were not affected by the fires, that they're back in their homes, from what I understand. But the people who lost their homes, you know, they're going through this very lengthy process of dealing with the insurance companies and all that. It's going to take a while. Polish Hammer. I had a nice Thanksgiving. No, I did not buy a new TV. It's good to hear some of you guys who got your notifications. For those of you, you know, hit the subscribe button to my channel and hit the bell notification thing. You may or may not get notified. I also announce this the morning of on my social media platform. So if you follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or my Facebook fan page, I always announce on all three of those at the same time in the morning, saying that I'm going to be doing this usually at 3 o'clock Pacific. I hope everyone had a nice Thanksgiving. Thank you. Yeah, guys, it was great being on Jimmy Dore. The conversation y'all had yesterday is one of the most vital ones we should be having nationally. Yeah, it was really, you know, that's the thing that's amazing about doing this, especially doing Jimmy's show. You know, there was over 5,000 people watching us yesterday from all over the world, and people asked some really, really poignant questions. And then hearing, you know, what everybody, Jimmy and Steph and Abby and Mike, have to say on issues is really enlightening, and it opens my eyes up to a lot of stuff. And it was just a great, you know, sometimes people are like, well, all you guys do is agree with each other. It's like an echo chamber. It's like, well, yeah, because we all agree what the problems are. And, you know, we'll discuss like what solutions are, but we all see what the problem. It's very simple. Honestly, to me, the problem is very simple. It's just the corporations have taken over everything. We are in a constant state of war, and, you know, we have a kleptocracy run by oligarchs. Once you understand that, then it makes everything pretty simple. And, you know, talking about Ocasio-Cortez and the Progressive Caucus backing Pelosi was just like, man, every time you see like a ray of hope and you think there's, you know, there's progressives really making, then they do that crap. And it was really, you know, I'm glad we talked about it, because it was like, it's a good conversation to have. Bare Minerals Original, Aline Bavakwi. Okay, that's a type of makeup. All right. All right, I'll do that. A type of makeup. I'll look into that. All right. Because my skin gets so irritated. So, and I, you know, when I shave, then my face gets all red. Ugh, it fucking sucks. That's why one of these I like surfing, because the salt water and the sun just mellows my face out. Bare Minerals is great. Been using it for years. Thank you, ladies, for all the makeup tips. This is very helpful. You can pick it up in any Sephora store. I recommend that powdered products versus oil foundation, but that's just me. Okay. Good to know. Ah, snap. Plantastic Life. Shave the knuckles for justice, buddy. Dominic, thank you so much. Thanks for the Veterans for Peace interview. I had no idea there was such a large protest movement within the military. It took a lot of guts. Well, thanks for watching that, guys. So I just posted that, I think, on Friday with Joseph John from the Veterans for Peace chapter in Asheville, North Carolina. I did a brief interview with him back in June after the show. It was sort of on the street there outside of the venue, and we did a lengthier one a couple days ago, and it was really poignant what he had to say. I mean, he talked about, and I wasn't quite aware of this either, but Veterans for Peace started during the Vietnam War, and the anti-war movement was fueled for the Vietnam War. It was fueled mainly, or the foundation of it at least was by vets, people who were over in Vietnam who came back and went, this is horrible. We got to do something about this. And it's why I have such respect for what he's doing, and also Mike Preisner. So, you know, I haven't listened to it yet, but I know Preisner has a podcast that he does with another vet, an Iraq vet, and they talk about it, you know, because Mike's like a lot of guys. He's like the guy I interviewed for Veterans for Peace. He went over there thinking, I'm doing the right thing, I'm fighting for justice in the American way, and came back very disillusioned. And so it's really important. It's an important conversation to have. And so, as I said in the interview, and for those of you who haven't watched it, if you know anyone, if you have a kid of your own, or you know someone who has a kid who's 16, 17 years old thinking about joining the military, go, okay. Give them all opinions and all sides of it, and show them that interview that I did with Joseph John for Veterans for Peace, because it's very important, you know. I've talked to so many vets over the years, from going over to war zone 7 times and doing a bunch of shows here in the States. You know, people need to know what's going on. Because I think about, you know, if I would have been 17 when 9/11 happened, I probably would have joined up. I mean, there's a good chance I would have joined up. So thanks for supporting the show, Dominic. Eileen Bevacqua, I don't know how to pronounce your name. I hope I'm doing it justice. Eileen, thank you so much for supporting the show. You guys are fantastic. Let's go check on the Streamlabs side, everybody. Boom, boom, boom. Out go the lights. Hey, Marcia Smith. Marcia, thank you so much. I hope you're doing well. Love seeing you on Jimmy's live stream yesterday, and so happy to be here with you and our fantastic vigilante chatters. Progressive blessings, you guys. Medicare for all. I don't really know what it means, but let's all do it. You're awesome, Marcia. Going to be doing another Stay in Your Lane comedy show, guys. We didn't do November because of the holiday, December 22nd at the Corbin Bowl. Show up for that. And then, of course, Ron and I, we have the Progressive Comedy Tour in January coming to Florida. And we have, we already have dates in March and April in the Florida Panhandle, in Pensacola and Fort Worth, Texas. So we're already selling a lot of tickets in Florida. So like Orlando, there's a lot of tickets moving. We've got Gainesville, Coral Gables, and Jacksonville, and people are already buying tickets at all those dates. So go to grahamelwood.com because you don't want to get shut out. Let's see what other questions we've got here. Vegan Trove, yeah, the CIA doesn't seem to care anymore if the public knows they are running a show. That was insane. That was insane watching that footage that Jimmy showed yesterday of that CIA guy basically just saying, yeah, we're running the show. And everyone on the panel going, okay, great. You know, it's like that's the thing now, especially with Trump. They're just so flagrant. They're so flagrant with everything that they're doing now. It's so just like, yeah, it's all a scam. We're just doing war for money and don't care. And it was nuts. Polish Hammer, how do you feel about France hitting the streets in protest? Pretty awesome, if you ask me. Yeah, that was a really cool thing we were talking about yesterday on the show, and Jimmy showed that awesome map of the 2,000 protests all over France, coordinated protests in a country that's actually a little bit smaller than Texas. And it was like, imagine 2,000 coordinated protests in the state of Texas, let alone all over America. Imagine if we had 2,000 protests in America. And that's what we need to start doing. We need to look at what they're doing. You know, we talked about, and I'm going to do a video on it too, but, you know, Amazon workers in Germany and Spain striking. And, you know, we've talked about, I did a video on the Extinction Rebellion where they shut down London. And it's important, coordinated strikes. A 6-cent gas tax, and they said, nope. And one of the things that we were talking about yesterday that Jimmy kept bringing up, which is a very valid point, you know, they have Medicare for all. So they're not worried about losing their jobs and losing their health care, which is such a threat that is held over the heads of the American worker. You know, so it was really... Phil Brzezinski, see you at the Chicago February 25th show, Graham. Yes, I'm in Chicago doing shows February 21st through March 2nd in St. Charles, downtown Chicago, and Rosemont. As I get more ticket links, I'll put those up. It's not a progressive comedy tour with Ron, but I'm headlining, so I'm doing 45 minutes every night. Come on out if you can. It's very cool. Forsaken Companion. I usually use 99-cent or so makeup and no foundation. All right, good to know. All right, let's see where we're at. My pleasure for doing the show. How big is this TV? This is a 65-inch 4K TV that I got on sale because it was open box. The French do have more balls than Texas. Yeah, Natural Progressive. They heard about the general strike scheduled. Oh, David Went. Thank you so much for supporting the show, David. Talking about the Extinction Rebellion. This was a very, you know, I did a video on it, so please go check it out. What the Extinction Rebellion, again, it was coordinated. They shut down 5 bridges in London. In the video that I did, I saw like a rebuttal to it saying, you know, how did emergency vehicles, that was very reckless. They weren't allowed to get in and out. And then I was told in the comment section that actually that wasn't true. They didn't block first responder vehicles. They coordinated that with the city and said, we're blocking the bridges. However, if you need ambulances or whatever to get through, we'll let them through. Which is amazing. And of course, you know, some people in the corporate media over there in the UK trying to say, look how reckless they are, but you got to shut stuff down, man. You got to make things inconvenient for people. I don't condone like making it hard for ambulances to get through, but they didn't make it hard for ambulances to get through. So the Extinction Rebellion is a very important thing. All of these things that are starting to happen, we're looking in this country, you know, those 3 different red states where the teacher strikes actually affected change. They shut down the schools, you know, and what they're doing, what the Extinction Rebellion and the coordinated strikes in France, you know, and the Amazon employees walking out on Black Friday. That's a big deal. I'm sure Jeff Bezos was like, well, we'll just replace you with robots. That's our long-term goal anyway. Which is like, we're going to need UBI if we start doing that. If we just replace everybody with robots, how is society going to function if people don't have jobs to buy anything or food or housing, or how's that going to work? How's that going to work? Yeah, I can see this a little, let me see this right up here. Right up here. This is where it's just shining. We're going to deal with that right now. Sorry, that's my vanity. I'm a Leo. What else do we got here? Thank you, David Went, for supporting the show, man. Austin Zappas, tear gas was fired at migrants seeking asylum at the border. What the fuck have we become? Hey, man. Oh, God. Yeah, I just read that this morning. That is pretty horrifying. You know, that's what happens when we have militarized police. We have private prisons. We're in war in 8 countries. That's our chief export is war. And then when we have the horrible corporate Democratic Party, offering working class people nothing, then we have a lunatic like Donald Trump in the White House, who now will do whatever the fuck he wants. Send troops to the border and the caravan, and get everybody who watches Fox News all scared that this brown horde is going to come flooding across the border and have sex with their daughters or whatever the fuck they're afraid of. It's pretty awful. It is. There's no like compassion in the leadership in this country. I mean, everybody's longing for the days of Obama. Yeah, Obama was presidential. He was a highly educated, classy guy, but then he was still doing awful things. Like, America doesn't want to face how awful it is. You know, Obama deported 2 million people. Obama separated families. Trump is just doing the ugliest, grossest version of that. Now just tear gassing people that want asylum. You know, the Statue of Liberty doesn't say, give me you're sick, you're tired, you're poor, provided they're white, heterosexual Christians. It doesn't say that. It says give everybody. And of course, you know, what's happening in Nicaragua right now, people are fleeing, and what are we doing? We've helped that happen. We go down there and we, you know, anytime there's a democratically elected government in any of these Central American countries that it has natural resources that we want, or we want to put a pipeline there or whatever, then, and they don't play ball, then we go down there and stage a coup and put somebody awful in place. And then there's horrible atrocities and human rights violations. And, you know, look what's happening in Yemen. It's not surprising we're doing this at the border. I mean, this is, we at the border, look what we did to people at Standing Rock. We tear gassed and jailed people and shot water cannons in 30-degree weather at Standing Rock, people on their own sovereign land. We did that. If we're going to do that to our own citizens, of course, we're going to do it to people from another country that want to come here. I mean, you read this book. American Power and the New Mandarins. Let me make sure I got that in frame. This is Noam Chomsky's book. This is about Vietnam. Okay? So read this book, because it goes into all the awful crap we were doing in Vietnam. And, you know, it's pretty horrifying. So, hey! Redneckonomics. What? Stevie. Hey, Graham, I'm in California visiting. Checked out the beach. Had no idea you all had refineries so close. Yeah. Are you anywhere near LA? If you're near LA, look me up, dude. We'll go to lunch. I was just surfing today. I would have taken you surfing. I would have taught you how to surf, Stevie. Come on. A Chicago comic and a West Virginian. What's better for surfing than those two surfing hotbeds? West Virginia and Chicago. Yeah, but seriously, DM me, and if you're in LA, we'll go out to eat, man. I'll take you out for sure. And check out Redneckonomics, you guys. She has a YouTube channel. She's got a lot of really cool videos about Ojeda and the politics of West Virginia. I love that you guys, so many of you have been inspired to start your own channels, and you're like, Natural Progressive has a cool channel talking about Utah stuff, and Stevie is doing great stuff in West Virginia. So hit me up, dude. Well, I'll take you out to eat. You know, I'll take you to a vegan place. You'll probably be like, oh God, I can't do this. I can't eat his food. Well, we can go to a place that serves regular food if you don't want to eat my crazy nonsense. Where are we at? Extinction Rebellion. Let me make sure I got all these. Eileen Bavakwi again. Thank you. Wait. God damn it, this thing. Yeah. Please hit the like button, as Aline just said. Yeah, I'll give you a free ride in an electric car. Well, that sounds creepy, but you want to ride in my electric car? That sounds like a big creep. But But yeah, Stevie, hit me up for sure, man. I would love to show you around. Progressive to progressive. It's so thank you for supporting the show. You've been in Anaheim and Huntington Beach. All right, that's like 45 minutes from me. Seriously, tell me where you're at. Like, email me on direct message me on Twitter, dude, and we'll. I just called the girl, dude. Sorry, just got done surfing. But yeah, hit me up and I can meet you somewhere. Whatever, I'll do it. It'd be rad. It'd be great to see you. So thank you for supporting the show. And please go watch Redneck-onomics. C. Blaine, darn, didn't get a notification, just got here. Yeah, that's so crazy. Guys, make sure you're subscribed, even if you've subscribed to my channel like 3 times. Excuse me, because they're unsubscribing people very frequently. And then hit the bell notification button. It's not a guarantee because they might still not notify you, but it's the best way to pay attention to what's going on. Snork Y2K, Mitch is here. Hello from Glasgow, Scotland. Hey, man, how are you? Marsha Smith, dude is non-gender specific in California. You got that right, bro. Good. Vegan Trove got a notification all the way down there in Tasmania. That's so cool. You guys are the raddest of the rads. The raddest of the rads. That's not a term. Moose Gal, do you add Darian in your comedy act? No, I do not. But I guess I could. I guess I'll do him on the Progressive Comedy Tour. If anybody yells out Darian, I'll do it on stage. How about that? I'll just do a couple minutes of Darian. Maybe I'll answer questions as Darian. Abort you. We call everything in California dude, even non-life forms. This is dude. This is my dude makeup. Dude cup. What? Schultze 100. This woman I just met called me and wanted me to meet her for lunch at this vegan place. Sorry, but the lunch was so goddamn awful. Vegans all well and good, but that shit sucked bad. YouTube wanted that. I had to hold that. I had to approve that comment because of the bad language. Vegan food's not for everybody. Stevie, we can go to a regular restaurant. I don't have to force everybody on that. I want to go to Glasgow as well. And yeah, Stevie, thank you for the Ojeda interview. Called the traffic light dude before. Everyone in California says hella for reals. Jesus Zamora, lack of money is the root of all evil. That's why this country is so divided. People can't afford health care to get sick or even live a dignified life. Food on the table, roof over the head, gas, etc. Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. Vegan food's great. I'm not going to get into this thing. There's good vegan food out there. Then they start a fucking thing. Yeah, it's not the vegan food, it's the cook, right? No worries, Schultze. Let's see where we're at here. Snork Y2K, everyone should visit Florida before it goes under, but check high tides before you visit Miami. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Richie Forky, I wish I had money to contribute, but I'm not able and will retweet and like your vids. Insightful, thought-provoking. Dude. Yeah, man. If you guys, obviously contributing to the show financially is awesome and I appreciate it. But if you're tight on money, you know, there's a lot of free ways. I talk about this a lot. There's a lot of free ways to support the show. One of them is to let the ads run all the way through on YouTube. I don't know if you know that, but when you click skip ad, I don't get paid. When the ad runs all the way through, if it's for some stupid conservative news thing or whatever, just let it play all the way through. So that's a big deal. Liking and subscribing and sharing the videos. Also, the Political Vigilante podcast is on iTunes. So subscribing and those downloads, even if you don't listen, even if you prefer watching the videos, those download numbers start to add up. If I can increase the download numbers on iTunes of my podcast, then I could start, I got to hit a certain threshold of downloads before I can start getting advertisers. And once I get advertisers, then there's more money coming into the show, which is another free way to support the show. So don't feel bad if money's tight, you guys. Believe me, as someone that's gone through bankruptcy and foreclosure, I know what it's like. I know what it's like to have, you know, $600 in my checking account and $1,000 worth of bills and going, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to just not pay this one for a month or two. You know, and you wait till the notices come in the mail and they start changing colors. And once they get red, then you know, oh, I guess the best I should pay before they shut it off. So I've been there. I don't want anyone supporting me financially if it's putting a burden on your financial situation. I don't want that at all. There's a lot of free ways to support the show and pushing the videos out on your own social media. And a lot of you are like, well, Graham, I only got 100 people following me, whatever. It still can help grow the channel. And, you know, following me on social media, all of those things contribute to the analytics in a positive way. Subscriptions, likes, follows, shares, retweets, all of that stuff helps. And it's a free way to help support the show. So don't feel bad at all, man. Where at? Where are we at? Illinois flipped 2 House congressional districts from Republican to Democrat. Peter Rosecrans was the 4th ranking GOP member. Well, yeah, that's good to know. I mean, look, we did it in Orange County here. Look, it's big news. There was these districts in Orange County, which is just south of Los Angeles, that have been red for years, and they're all blue now. It's a big significant deal. So yeah, that's good to hear. Yeah, CRTV does play a lot of progressive channels, but look at it this way. They have to pay to run those ads. So when you let those ads run all the way through, as dumb as they are, you're forcing them to pay, and then I get paid. So we're doing a little Robin Hood on a conservative news thing, which is kind of great. So yeah, comments abort you. Comments help too. Anything that, because here's what happens. Like when a video, you watch my videos, they get anywhere from 300-400 views to 1,000 or up, somewhere in there, you know. So when a video gets a lot of likes and a lot of comments and a lot of views, then YouTube promotes it more, right? So the Veterans for Peace interview, let's say, just as an example, the more views that gets, or the interview I did with Natural Progressive about the Mormons trying to rewrite the medical marijuana proposition that was just passed by 53% of the voters. The more that gets viewed and shared, then the more, because you know when you go on YouTube and it says you may also like, and on the right-hand side it'll show the other relatable videos. So they'll put my videos up there more, the more people that are watching them, all that stuff. Even a quick comment, love the video, thumbs up, smiley face, whatever, you know, shave your knuckles, whatever you want to put in there. All those little things help. Believe me, they do. You know, and you can be a patron for $1 a month. You know, if you just want to give $1 a month, that's $12 a year. That helps the channel. Every little thing helps. So there's a lot of great ways. When I comment, I get blocked. That's, well, what are you commenting? How are you commenting? Take responsibility. Snork Y2K, we flipped a Republican district here in Northeast Iowa that funded many of the other GOP congressional creeps. Good to hear. Jaded Optimist, Trump signed the CISA Cybersecurity Infrastructure Act on Friday. He awarded the contract to protect U.S. election integrity from a foreign entity, Israel company named Morphosec. Yep. And were we talking about that on Friday? Or are we talking about him on CNN saying he called Adam Schiff Adam shit? See what happens? He plays the media so well. He says, he tweets Adam shit, and they devote a half an hour talking about that on CNN. Meanwhile, he signs this cybersecurity infrastructure take away your rights act nonsense. I guarantee you, whenever he does one of those Stormy Daniels tweets or some shithole country, he's passing some horrible law like that. I mean, I guarantee it every time. It's without fail. The minute he does that, and the mainstream corporate media is like, "Oh, Trump said this crazy thing," just go, well, what happened? What just got passed? What horrible thing? How many Democrats just co-signed him to get more war? What happened? What? Graham, Trump wants those in a caravan to go to Mexico. Fox is reporting they're going to California since Trump wants our southern border closed. Thoughts? I hate the barbed wire on the fence. Yeah, this is a great, this is a great thing for Trump, is to stir up the fear of his, the white Fox News watching base. That's just like the brown hordes are coming. So he wants to, and then of course he can say, Obama had these open borders, which is, like I said, it's Obama deported 2 million people. So it's a ridiculous argument, but yeah, he wants this crazy controversy. He wants to send soldiers down there. This plays right into it, and his base loves it. And, that's my thoughts on that. Yeah. And then as C. Blaine talks about how this all ties in. So the caravan is another kind of distraction that's great for Trump to pass these horrible cybersecurity bills. Or as C. Blaine says, let's talk about Ocasio-Cortez's shoes. She has these fancy shoes. They keep trying to say she's a fake socialist or whatever, that she's some rich kid. And she's like, nope. And she posts on Twitter her shoes with holes in them. And then she posts, says something in Spanish, which is hilarious. But then she, backs Pelosi with the Progressive Caucus, which is like the Progressive Caucus keeps fucking buckling at every turn. It just is why progressives within a Democratic Party just get bought and paid for. It's fucking stupid. They're promised, committee positions, and then they don't want to fight Pelosi. There's nobody left of Pelosi. Then get someone. Stupid. Sid Finch, first a progressive government, second a progressive country, third a progressive continent, fourth a progressive exoplanet in a constellation far, far away. That's good. Going back to the cybersecurity company that was an Israeli company that Obama or Trump just gave. What's the difference? Mr. T Jr., if it was a Russian company, you would have every branch of government, including food stamps, tweeting and complaining about foreign oversight. Yeah, right? Isn't that funny? Israel gets to do cybersecurity, but we're not worried about that. Who yet just shot another, how many unarmed people get shot in Gaza or whatever? It's crazy. If the people can't get into the U.S., do they have to go home to violence? Republicans really aren't the Christians or Jewish people they claim to be, all propaganda. Oh, yeah, absolutely. No one's saying that, because this is part of it. When the Democratic Party co-signs war and all this other stuff, and we don't have any real solid anti-war movement, we don't have a lot of anti-war candidates who are getting elected, war and violence is just acceptable. And nobody's calling out the Christians, the Christian right, for being, they should have compassion for these. Their people are escaping horrible violence in Nicaragua, or just the drug cartels in all of Central and South America, that sell all their drugs to us Americans primarily. We fuel that industry. Kyle Kalinske did a very video on that topic. That's good. I'm shocked the USA isn't selling arms to these migrants to go back to their home and shoot up their own country since USA loves profits and violence. Yeah, that's another thing I'd love to see. Oh, they should be allowed to have guns to protect themselves. The caravan should have guns to protect themselves, right? Shouldn't they? We should let them have the Second Amendment and have guns to protect themselves against the drug cartel violence, right? And then they want to come across our borders, but they should be able to have guns, right? It always breaks down, doesn't it? It always breaks down. People in violent inner city neighborhoods should be allowed to have guns to protect themselves, right? No. Can't have black people having guns. Ooh, no, sir. No, sir. Just good white Christians are allowed to have guns. That hypocritical nonsense. And with the 13th Amendment, guess you're okay with slavery since that's what this country decided to make criminals into slaves. Yeah, absolutely. Grenade sold similarly. C. Blaine, Rand Paul is trying to get us out of Yemen, so that's a thing. Yeah, that's a good point to bring up, man. The one thing I'll say, I talk a lot about Yemen on this show, and I'm finally starting to hear a little bit of it in the corporate media and politicians saying, what are we doing over there? I don't know when Rachel Maddow is going to dedicate her whole hour to talking about that. So it's a good point. Personal life, I'm just glad there hasn't been a terrorist attack. I'm terrified to think of what Trump would do. Oh, boy. I mean, look how he's reacting to a caravan of peaceful asylum seekers who are like, there's a lot of like women and children, and they're trying to escape horrible violence. Just on the caravan, there's violence and sexual assault and all this crap. It's awful. And look how Trump's reacting. Send the soldiers down there. I love Christ. No, you don't. No, you don't. Christ would help these people. If Jesus Christ was alive today, he would help these people. He wouldn't send the military. And it is a scary thought to think about if there's a terrorist attack while Trump, what's he going to do? Just crazy bullshit. Yeah, Vegan drove. Maddow will go to CIA talking points like the rest of them. Moose Gal, I have not seen Kyle Kulinski's video on progressives backing Pelosi for speaker, but demanded to be on committees with teeth. They got promised to be put on committees. I haven't seen Kyle Kulinski's video, but I will just, my thoughts on it based on the conversation we were having on Jimmy Dore yesterday. It's just like they were promised committees. That's just this like incremental centrist carrot dangling. We'll put you on a committee to just slowly talk. I mean, you hear that all the time. This thing will die in committee. We'll write this bill and try to get some press on it, but we know it'll just die in committee. That's what a lot of those committees do. They just sit there and babble on about it and nothing gets done. If it gets out of committee and gets to the floor of Congress and then they pass it, then it's got to go to Senate. The Senate that's completely non-representational and is complete bullshit. Wyoming has 2 senators, as does New York and California and Texas, states with massive populations. There's 1 million or 2 million people in all of South Dakota or some shit like that. There's fucking 1 million people on the west side of Los Angeles. And South Dakota gets the same amount of senators. Committee thing, it just shows the progressives at every turn. They talk a big game, but then they buckle. It's like when the Democratic Party said, we're going to limit the influence of superdelegates, and our revolution was doing bad. Yay, big victory. No, it's not a big victory. You're suckers. You're suckers. I'm so happy for Ocasio-Cortez. I'm glad what she's done and what she represents. But this is the thing I'm worried about. She just starts playing this incremental deal making. Well, they put me on a committee, so I'm not going to fight Pelosi. Ugh, boo. It won't work. It won't work. You'll get voted out. You'll lose to a corporate Democrat or just a Republican because you didn't do what you said you were going to do. Yeah, great point. George Ho, what committee was Bernie on when he made Amazon pay $15 an hour? Great point. He just said, I'm going to do the Stop Bezos Act. That act didn't get passed. That law didn't get passed yet. He just got a lot of press on it because he's one of the most popular politicians in all of America, and just forced them to pay $15 an hour. He forced Disney to do it. He didn't go in a committee and he said, we're calling it the Stop Bezos Act. Real clean. He knows how to sell it. You need a catchy marketing term. You need something, Stop Bezos Act, that looks good on the bottom crawl of a news channel. And he got that done. Now, Amazon, of course, did that because they don't want to pay for unions. The Whole Foods employees are trying to unionize, and Jeff Bezos is aware of this. He's paying attention to what just happened this weekend in Germany and Spain. But you bring up a great point. He wasn't on some fucking jackwagon committee. He just got it done. Rand Paul has some awful domestic policies. Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'm not in the agree with everything, but we did this thing. I was on the Convo Couch, which is a cool little show. And it showed this conversation between Ron Paul and Nader, Greens and Libertarians forming a coalition on certain issues, other things they disagree on, and that's okay. But that's a thing. And it's good to call out Rand Paul on the things that you don't agree with or aren't very progressive. Absolutely. We shouldn't just I'm like I said, I'm very happy with Ocasio-Cortez, but we need to hold her feet to the fire for crap like this. You know, when she does good things, right on. When she does these, well, I'm on a committee, so I don't want to fight Pelosi, who's battle tested. Hold them accountable on each issue, on each thing. They do a good thing, give them a thumbs up. They do a shitty thing, call them out. And that's the problem. We got to get out of this. We all need to agree on everything before we join forces. Let's get together on some major issues. A lot of libertarians are get us out of all of these wars. A lot of libertarians would love to see a Green New Deal. Their reasoning is different than a lot of us progressives, but so what? Watch that interview I did on Convo Couch with Pasta and Fiorella. It's a cool little show that they do. It's called the Convo Couch. I don't know when it's coming out. Maybe I think it went live. So anyway, it might already be out. But they showed this interview from a couple years ago with Ron Paul and Nader. It's important. Does Iran frack on their land or frack at all? I have no idea what Iran does, how they do that. Kevin Martinez, Second Amendment was all about making sure overseers, aka slave patrols, can have state-of-the-art executioning tools. Yeah, good point. Jesus Zamora, now that the Democrats control everything in California, they should change the rule to pass everything with a simple majority. Vote on medical care for all and expose the corporate. Yeah, absolutely. But this is the thing too, with the House of Congress and what Pelosi will do now that they're just progressives just help rubber stamp her back in. She's been there for 15 years as Speaker in the House. She was third in line to be president, by the way. It was VP, Secretary of State, Speaker of the House. She's third in line to be president. Ugh. She'll do stuff like propose some law in Congress, knowing it'll be voted down in the Senate. And then the Democrats love this. Oh, the obstructionist Republicans. And they'll get control. And if they get control of the Senate, then they won't do anything. She goes, we're going to work with Trump and be bipartisan. Oh, man. Bipartisan, as Carlin said, that's when you know you're getting screwed. Libertarians are so economically illiterate. They know nothing about how a sovereign economy operates. MMT. Yeah. But there's look, if they're in favor of cutting our military budget and getting us out of all of these ridiculous wars, that's something we should get together with them on. You know, that's something we agree on. We should do it because that's killing this country and killing the world from an environmental standpoint as well. The United States military is the biggest polluter of the environment. We don't have to agree with them on everything, but if we're just like, we just got to get, like, coalition governments are good. That's why when people say, oh, I don't want third parties, and oh boy, what happens if there's a bunch of independents and Greens and libertarians in Congress? Then what? Oh, great. Then we'll have coalition government. We won't have two parties dictating everything. You want to pass this law? You're going to have to get the Greens on board and you know, some of the libertarians and some of the Republicans. You're going to have to get them on board. Coalition governments are good. They do hate socialism. So what? They'll get used to it. Andrew Sweet, how is she third in line? So that's a good question. So there's a succession. So there's the president. If the president dies, then it's the vice president. If the vice president dies, then it's the Secretary of State. Secretary of State dies, the Speaker of the House. So let's say during the State of the Union, a bunch of those people, or let's say the president and vice president and Secretary of State are all in a meeting or something, and they get all blown up and they all die. Because we have to have a continuous, whatever the official term is, continue the government or continuation of power. I forget is the actual official term, but that's what we have. So let's say the president, vice president, secretary of state all get killed right at the same time. The Speaker of the House is then sworn in as the president. So like during the State of the Union speech, they do a thing called, there's a TV show based on this, called Designated Survivor, where they pick some low-rung cabinet member. There's a whole, if you go online, you can see the whole secession. So like if they were to blow up the Capitol building during the State of the Union, whoever they left behind, they called it the designated survivors, like the Secretary of, you know, Education or something like that becomes president. That's what that means. Continuity of government. Thank you, Jeremy Walker. Speaker comes after VP. Secretary of State is fourth in line. Hold on. Somebody Google that. Find out the actuality of that. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but let's get clarification on that. Don't forget, guys, you can support the show on streamlabs.com/Graham Elwood. It goes through PayPal. I get paid immediately. I watched that show, didn't know it was real, yeah. Speaker is constitutionally third. All right. David Wint. Thank you for supporting the show. Shave the knuckles for justice, bro. Boom. Forget the political distractions. It's time for direct action. When society is ready to lose its sense of fear in the face of state authority, then everything crumbles and change can happen. Ooh, that's a great quote. Who's that quote from? But you bring up a good point. Getting back to Extinction Rebellion, getting back to what France just did. And I've said this before, what the teacher strikes did last year, the March for Our Lives, those high school kids that are like, and they get fucking trolled by gun nuts. Like their friends were murdered on campus and they get trolled by these fucking gun nuts. These soulless pieces of shit. If they stop going to school, and shut down schools, if millions of high school kids just walked out on a Monday and said, we're not going back to school until you have serious gun reform, we have real gun control. And they get so fucking annoyed when I say gun control on Twitter, and then someone writes, you can't get all the guns out of everyone's house. When I say, does gun control mean get every gun out of everyone's house? Do you understand the English language, you gun nut fuckstick? So that would bring serious gun reform. If we coordinated 2,000 strikes around the country to demand Medicare for all, right? Millions of people in 2,000 cities all over America had a protest or did a general strike. We want Medicare for all. Everybody walks out. We want Medicare for all, or we shut it down. It would start happening. David Wint, you bring up a great point. But I want to see where this quote is from. Your knuckles are hairless. VP, Speaker of the House, then President pro tempore of the Senate. All right. VP 1, Speaker 2. All right. It's a good thing to know. Ah, I was wrong. All right. So it's President, Vice President, Speaker of the House, President pro tempore of the Senate, Secretary of State. All right. Secretary of State's down the line. So if Trump and Pence are at an event together and they both die, Nancy Pelosi becomes president. Just think of that. David Wint, I don't see it, but tell us. Attorney General is 6th in line. All right. Gun that fuckstick, I know. Yeah, that's a great quote. I'll read it again. When society is ready to lose its sense of fear in the face of state authority, then everything crumbles and change can happen. So that's that quote in there is, you see their tactic, the state, the powerful, the ruling class, whatever you want to call them. They keep a sense of fear. You strike, you lose your job. Amazon, we talked about this yesterday, asked the Spanish police to go inside. Spanish police said no, thankfully, but to go inside the warehouse during the people that didn't strike. The Amazon wanted the Spanish police to go in there and like keep them productive. What? They want to keep us afraid. They want to show you, like, that's why they make an example out of people like Julian Assange and Edward Snowden, to show you, you better not speak up. You better not be a whistleblower. Stay in line. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Stay in line. I've lost work because of this show on my Twitter feed. I've lost my home. That's what they want. So when the masses overcome that fear, and I'm not saying it's an easy fear to overcome. I just want to go about my life. I don't want to cause problems. I don't want to get arrested. I don't want to get beaten up. I don't want to lose my job. Those are all valid fears to have. They're valid fears to have. But when society is ready to lose a sense of fear in the face of state authority, then everything crumbles and change can happen. Once everyone stops signing up for their military, for their war machine, once everybody walks out of their low wage, no health benefit jobs and demands better, it shuts stuff down. You shut down schools, the teachers shut down schools. Guess what? The teachers got better deals. And you're right. You bring up a great point. We get people like Ocasio-Cortez in there, great, but then she and the progressive coalition just, well, Nancy Pelosi, no one can run against her. You know, I'm tired of like tough talking tweets from people and the rally speeches. And then when it actually comes to literally, I'm not going to back down. You did. You just backed down. You could have said, then I'll run against Pelosi. Why didn't Ocasio-Cortez say, I don't know, maybe legally she's not allowed to because hasn't been sworn in yet or something? I don't know. Maybe that's it. But why didn't somebody else go, I'll run? If I was if I was in Congress, I'd go, I'll do it. I'd run against her. The Democratic Party, they would hate me if I ever got elected. They would I wouldn't run as a Democrat for starters, but oops. Let's see where we're at, guys. Thank you again, David Went, for supporting the show. I thought the teacher strike would morph into something bigger. Yeah, but it did in the sense. You love my mafia voice. Thank you. I grew up in Chicago. I knew mob guys. That's a legitimate business organization. Why are we constantly being targeted? This is Italian-American businessmen. It's a social club. But what are you talking about? We didn't do anything wrong. Nothing wrong here. Hey, this guy. I am getting seriously worried about Assange. Things are not looking good for him. What can we do? I've been a part of numerous Unity for J online vigils. You know what you can do? You can call and email your representatives and say it's not right. He should be freed. How many people are doing that? Will it fall on deaf ears? Maybe. Probably. But it's something you can do. You can let people know this ain't right and let those in power know this isn't right. And say, hey, you're my senator, you're my representative. You need to protect Julian Assange. If you don't, I'm going to vote against you in the next election. Tell them that. I'm voting you against you. Every politician's greatest fear is losing their next election. You get voted out of office, they lose their power, they lose their control, they lose all that stuff. That's what I would suggest. Vermont Bread Smith, what's up? Kevin Martinez, yes, do not forget to like and share. When you did that imitation of Medea Benjamin on the JD Live show, was hilarious. Thank you. She's fantastic, Medea Benjamin. Yeah, the teacher strike was blacked out, but the media covered it a little, but they didn't really get into it. And when there was like a victory, the media wasn't like, wow, teacher victory. You know? I like that idea. Don't give in to crass consumerism. Yeah, that's another thing too. Ron Wagoneer wrote this. So things that we can do. I talk about voting with your dollars. One of the ways to vote with your dollars is to not support these industries and companies that don't align with your politics. Right? It's one of the reasons I bought an electric car, because I was like, I'm not giving the gas companies my money anymore. And I know the electric car is not the perfect solution. There's long-term issues with the batteries and all that. And where's the electricity coming from? I get that. But I just physically couldn't stick my debit card, and then I couldn't do it anymore. So it's stuff like that. Don't support their corporate nonsense any way that you can. They notice it. If you can pull your money out of a bank, if you're with one of the big banks and can go to a credit union, do some research, find some good credit unions. You know, Beneficial State Bank is like an online bank. Like find some stuff like that. Even if you're like, God, I only got a couple of grand in my bank account, pull it out of there. I don't know, do research, make sure you're getting good interest rates and all that stuff, and you're not getting stuck with a bunch of fees. Don't pay banking fees, whatever. But like, that's ways to do it. Don't participate in their economy as best you can. It's hard not to, because there's the globalization is we're all a part. I mean, look, this show is live streaming on Google. I mean, I'm doing the best I can, you know what I mean? So, but those little things, man, they're tracking every dollar. They're tracking the sales, and when there's a dip, they notice. They notice. The NFL, right? Their viewership is down 10%. Each year, it's like 8 to 10% they're losing viewers. It's a big deal. You know, some of you, I like certain sports. I like baseball. I like watching the Cubs. I follow the WNBA. I'm a big basketball fan. I watch the NBA a little bit. I like college basketball, but I pick and choose where I spend my money. You know, I really do. And the NFL is just some league I'm not going to support. That's just me. So little things like that, I think those little things add up and they make a difference. I really do. And when you have to use some big corporation because it's the only way to get by, don't feel bad about it. Know you're doing the best you can. Try to organize and get involved. I gotta go. All right, Jesus. We'll see you, brother. Mr. TJ, thank you so much for supporting the show. Shave the knuckles for justice. Go, 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 go. Let's check the Streamlabs. All right. Mr. TJ, I like your avatar. I call the police here in Australia and they are appalling. It makes me furious. Me, I have done that. Ah, David Wint. That quote is from the Extinction Rebellion organizer in an article on the ecologist.org. Oh, cool. Thanks, man. That's right on. Bread and circuses, where's the effing bread at? C. Blaine. The problem is there are too many issues and progressives are scattered. We need to unite behind one issue, then plow through them all one by one. The 60s protests worked because it was mainly about the war. Katie Hughes, haha, resist Hobbit Knuckles. Funny. But C. Blaine, that's a good point. I would say this. It's why I think we're starting to see in the mainstream media, people are saying we got less than 12 years to do anything. If we don't fix shit, in 12 years, it's over. And we're hearing Green New Deal in the mainstream media. I think that, to me, that and ending war are kind of almost two halves of one issue. So I agree. And I think then go hard for the environment, you know. And I think, you know, being anti-war is pro-environment in my mind. I think they're the same. I think a Green New Deal gives us jobs. It helps end crime. It gets us out of wars. It does all these things. So that'd be the one issue, the environment, and anything about that we should be pushing for. But also, if you look at the midterm we just had, all of these progressive ballot measures passed, many of them 60-some% of the vote. I mean, the medical marijuana passed by 53% of the vote in Utah. You might think, 53% is not that much, but in a state as red as Utah, that's a big deal. The nonviolent ex-con voter law in Florida passed by 60-some%. I think that's amazing. So I agree it's good to focus on one issue, but look at the overall progressive message is I think they're kind of connected, if that makes sense. Natural Progressive, thanks for supporting the show. Green New Deal solves a lot of problems. Thank you, Graham. Yeah, it's why I keep trying to hammer that home, why I talk about it as often as I can. And I don't care if I sound like a broken record, because we need to keep playing that record until people wake the fuck up to it, because the Green New Deal, right, gives everybody a job. It helps save the planet. If everybody's working, what's our crime rate? If everyone's got a good job with health benefits, what crime needs to be? Do people need to be doing drugs and checking out of society because life is so challenging? No, they don't. Right? It brings up all of these positive things. It helps with prison reform and the private prison system, which is bullshit. Instead of building private prisons, we should be building wind turbines and solar panels, right? We give kids free college tuition. This is part of Bernie's 10-point plan, which is amazing. I think he's going to run for president in 2020. When he releases that 10-point plan, and meanwhile the Democrats are doing their dumb crap, letting Pelosi back in there, it tells me that I think he's going to run. So you look at that, and then in his 10-point plan, everything's connected to the Green New Deal. So green energy is a technology, right? I've said this before, which means, like any technology, it gets smaller, faster, and cheaper. So if state colleges are all free and community colleges are all free, and we have this Green New Deal in place, then every college campus is going to have a green technology curriculum. Everyone is going to be working all hands on deck on finding, how can we do this? How can we, is there a way to rebuild the solar or the polar ice caps? How do we get the plastic out of the oceans? How do we do all of these things? It's technology. Is there a way to, I heard of people doing research on kind of trying to control the weather, shooting something into the clouds and they can control weather. Oh, wow, we have a drought over here. We shoot something in the clouds. I don't know, but that's what we need. So if everyone's getting free college tuition and everyone on college campus is working for the Green New Deal, then see what it does? The whole planet is working together to save the planet. So they're all interconnected. Thanks for supporting the show, Chris. Every Paris climate signer failed to meet requirements. It's a good point. Another reason for more strikes and walkouts and protests and mass coordination of all of these things. 6% sales tax on gas is what they coordinated. So you know what France can do now? They can coordinate 2,000 protests. All right. The French government doesn't sign the Paris Accord or whatever, the climate thing, then they should organize 2,000 protests in France. We should organize 2,000 here in America. Graham, alternative media needs a union. I'm all for that, man. China can easily switch to using renewable everything, including specialized plastic. Well, China is already doing that. I mean, not that specific thing, but China in 2015 said, they just said, we're doubling down on, because they have such a smog issue. They suddenly spent $111 billion on solar and wind. And in 2015, this country spent $42 billion. They almost tripled our spending. China just said, we're doing this. They have a high-end, all-electric SUV that's built in China. They're putting high-speed rail all over the place. They're getting behind the technology of this. Because let me tell you something. the tech company that comes up with a thing that can reverse climate change, you are going to be a trillionaire. These corporations should want to double down on this, not fucking more drones and war robots. Think about it. Somebody comes up with a technology, and it might seem crazy today, that's how technology, that's how science fiction becomes science fact. My dad looks at a smartphone. He's in his 80s and goes, wow. He remembers when he was a kid and there was Buck Rogers stuff. And he's just like, this was crazy science fiction. A phone you're watching me from all over the planet. And I've done this show. I'm not doing it now, but numerous times I've done it on my iPhone. I've done that where I just placed it and talked into this thing numerous times. So we get behind green energy and green technology. There's somebody out there coming up with something, but you need money for research and development on that. What if somebody said, oh yeah, there's a way we can rebuild the polar ice caps because we need them. Wait, what? Yeah, we can change the climate on the poles. All right. They've got all this other crazy. Why not? But we got to put money and research and time and energy behind it. I think U.S. empire is happy to take us all out rather than lose hegemony or be overtaken by China economically. I really think that's where we are. I know they don't realize their fear of China overtaking us economically. Again, if you're worried about that, Green New Deal. Put every American to work. We would lead. Who can stop us if we put our energy all together for doing something good versus having militaries in just about every country on the face of the earth and spending $1 trillion a year on war? What if we spent $1 trillion a year on green energy? We could lead the way, and we could help this technology all over the world. So people in Central American countries would have good jobs because they'd be building their own green energy down in Mexico and Nicaragua. They wouldn't need to come here in their crazy caravan. We wouldn't be bombing Syria. So we wouldn't be worried about their refugees. See the solution? It has the solution to everything. Just about every single global problem or problem we have in America, the Green New Deal helps solve it. Let's see where we're at here. 1:16. All right. Let me check Streamlabs in case anybody's donated over there. There's multiple ways to donate, of course, you guys. Cool. Hippopalooza, that is ridiculous. Jaded Optimist, JFK warned us about warmongering military-industrial complex and secret societies like the Freemasons, and he got shot. Yeah. Hey, man, Eisenhower warned us against the military-industrial complex on his way out. Graham, they have violence in Latin and Central America. How does a Green New Deal help with that? Great question. One of the things that contributes to the violence in Central and South America is the American government overthrowing democratically elected governments down there because they won't give us their natural resources. So if we don't need or use oil anymore, we don't need to go overthrow governments for that stuff. Also, if the whole world is working on a Green New Deal, that means other countries we could be exporting our technology down there. We could put every American to work making a Green New Deal for America and exporting that to the world. But also there could be factories and stuff like that down there. If everybody's working and we're all hands on deck on saving the planet, how much Mexican and South American cocaine do Americans need? Why do we have an opioid epidemic? One of the reasons, there's not a lot of hope in this country. 60% of the country doesn't have $1,000 in savings. They got to go get high. They just got to check out. What's the point? It's all shit. Everything's fixed and rigged. It doesn't matter. We got this idiot in the White House. We had 8 years of Obama, nothing changed. We had 8 years of Bush, nothing changed. It's all awful. Fuck it, I'm going to get high. If everybody's working towards saving the planet on a Green New Deal, you would see ancillary benefits we can't even imagine. But I absolutely, and maybe I'm being too fucking hippie voodoo rainbow butterfly, but I honestly think that's how the Green New Deal would help. We wouldn't be down there with the CIA fucking around with everybody's government, would we? If we were just focusing on saving the planet, which is the big reason. Anytime there's a violent or a protest, overthrow, the CIA's down there somewhere. It's a great question, though. Rosenfeld 10. Sanctions lead to economic instability. American intel manipulate the narrative. The public turns its back on the government and soon support the right-wing cycle the U.S. promotes. Yep. That's how they do it. And that's why we have instability. And then there's riots and shooting and all this other stuff. We always back the psychopath. If it's a country that has natural resources, the democratically elected person usually says, why the fuck are we giving this to America and its corporations? We need this for our citizens. Oh, you're out. Democratically elected guy in Iran, you're done. We're going to put the Shah in there who's evil. You're out. Venezuela, out. It's what we do. It's what we do. Down, not done. Autocorrect is goofy. Natural progressive. Yep, people are checking out because they feel like they have no hope. Katie Hughes. Plus, if people are giving a sense of purpose, that can help immensely since they deal with depression on a regular basis. Yeah, great point, Katie Hughes. I got to go to some stupid job making $9 an hour. Oh, I definitely got to get high. I'm going to work making $25 an hour, and we're building wind turbines and solar panels. We're helping save the planet. It's amazing what we're doing. The factory was built in this poor community. Now this community, everybody has jobs. Everybody's living. It's great. There's community gardens. There's all this. Everyone's working together. What got us out of the depression? This country had 25% unemployment, the New Deal. And then the war effort. We got to fight Hitler. We got to fight the Japanese. We got to fight Mussolini. We got to fight climate collapse. That's the enemy. If we don't have breathable air and drinkable water, we're done as a species. It's over. So here's a really good job, going to a research facility or a factory that builds them or whatever. You're an installer. Oh man, I had no job. I was driving for Uber. I barely got around. I was getting high all the time. And then now I'm building high-speed rail from coast to coast. It's amazing. We just installed a wind farm. Everyone's working together to do the right thing. Sounds great. Let's get high. Chris, you're missing the point, you goddamn hippie. I'm coming off Oxy right now, but I wasn't partying with it. I fucked up my back. Yeah, just be careful, Andrew. A lot of people go on Oxy or Vicodin for legitimate reasons, like what you went through, serious back pain or injuries or whatever. Just be real careful. That shit is highly addictive. And if you feel like you're becoming an addict, do not be afraid to go get help. That addiction shit fucks stuff up. I was in a relationship with a woman for 2.5 years. It was loving. It was sweet. It was awesome. She started doing heavy drugs. Brutal. Ended. Had to get a restraining order. Don't fuck with that, man. That's just, you're probably aware of this. I'm not trying to be your dad. You're an adult, but just be aware of it. And if you start to see crazy addictive behavior or somebody else points it out, go get help. That shit is so addictive. You can't think your way out of a chemical addiction. You can't willpower up. Your body gets physically addicted to it. and it becomes a horrifying fucking nightmare. There, my lecture's over. Sorry on that. Schultzy 100, Graham, vegan California man, headed out to meet a friend. Keep the right knuckle shaved, brother. Peace. Thanks for supporting the show, man. Tell your friend everybody here said hey, and make sure their knuckles are shaved. When they ask why, say it really makes absolutely no sense, but we're all doing it. Oh, my neighbors are walking by. I always feel self-conscious when my windows are right there because they walk by. I close my windows, but I know they must think I'm nuts because they see these bright lights come through the shades. I block out the windows. I draw the shades, and then they hear me talking. Ah, we got a great new deal, Ocasio-Cortez. They must be like, that guy's out of his fucking mind. Don't talk to him. Just smile at him when he leaves his house with a surfboard, but don't. They must think I'm nuts. Schultzy 100, thank you so much for supporting the show, brother. Have fun. Class action against that family who lied about OxyContin and made billions. Good union all day. My sister died at 19 from opioid overdose. Oh, Vegan Trove, I'm so sorry to hear that, man. I'm so sorry. That's the worst. I can't even begin to know. I'm so sorry. And thank you for sharing that with us. Because it's important for people to share those stories so that we know how severe the addiction can be. So I'm sorry about that. Andrew Sweet, I'm living that nightmare right now. I'm being weeded off them very slowly. All right, brother. Well, just be safe and don't be afraid and go gentle on yourself and self-care and, find some alternatives. And I don't know if you're able to do this physically. I had really bad chronic hip and back pain, and I started doing yoga 3 days a week, and I've been doing it for 6 years now, and it has changed my life. Just a thought. So I hope you're all right. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Yeah, my neighbors think I'm either talking to myself or making porn, or I'm like making some crazy Al Qaeda videos. The death to an American infidel. We will bomb you for all of Mujahideen or whatever. Green new porn. All right, now we're all doing porn jokes. All right. Put a silhouette of a dinosaur and a cow by a window. Vegan Trove, I'm sure you still feel bad. I don't know if there's, I'm a big proponent of support groups. And if there are support groups in Tasmania for, family members of people who've OD'd, but also Al-Anon is a really great program. If somebody else's addiction or, alcohol or drug use has been a problem in your life, those meetings are really good. You might want to think about that. Maybe you've already done that. I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life, but I just know support groups have been very helpful for me. And they might have Al-Anon in Tasmania. I don't know. But if they do have that, I would recommend going because they're really helpful to be in a room full of people that have gone through similarly what you've gone through. You'll meet other people who have had relatives that have had drug use and OD'd and stuff like that. And you can really share with them about something that other people just don't understand, because how can you know what you went through unless someone else went through it? I hope that helps. Yeah, it's severe. Lost my kids. Aunt a year ago to Vicodin addiction. She was 37, had 4 kids, middle class. It goes across all demographics. Abort, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, that's the thing with addiction. It doesn't care. It doesn't care If you have a PhD, it doesn't care if you dropped out of high school. It doesn't care. Doesn't care. And look what it can do. 37, 4 kids, middle class, probably had a pretty good life. And that's what Vicodin, I remember I had my wisdom teeth out like 15 years ago and they gave me Vicodin. I was like, oh God, no. I took them one night, the first night, because my mouth was throbbing. And then after that, I just took Tylenol and Advil because I was just like, I don't want to mess with this. You know, I have a personality that can get a hold of something and not let go of it. So I didn't want to mess with that. And I'm so sorry, Abort You, that you went through that. And I'm so sorry for your aunt's kids. And it's just, thank you for sharing that. That's the reality of addiction. It's no joke. Snort Y2K, there's another chemical that helps, and it is from hemp, not cannabis, that reduces inflammation and can reduce pain. I believe it is SQA. I get it in my grocery store in Iowa. Okay, cool. Jeremy Walker, there's other groups. Yep. Find a support group, man. Vegan Trove, I've done therapy, but can't seem to get rid of the guilt of not being able to help her. That's where a support group can come in. You know, that's where somebody just said Al-Anon is too religious in my area. They can do that, but there's a saying in Al-Anon, take what you want, leave the rest. So if you go to a meeting and people are being they shouldn't be bringing up religion. It's supposed to be non-religious. They don't bring up politics and religion, but the guilt, I'm sure that's a very normal, common thing. And that's the thing with addiction. You think, I remember I was talking to a friend about my ex-girlfriend. I was like, oh man, you know, I should have bought her more flowers. And I was beating myself up. And they went, Graham, do you think if you would have bought her more flowers, she wouldn't have been an addict? That would have prevented her from being an addict. And that's the reality when you're dealing with an addict. You can call them, you can love them, you can buy them flowers, you can be there for them all they want. But if they don't want to get help for their addiction, there is nothing you can do. And it sucks. It sucks. That's why they call addiction a disease. The American Medical Association calls alcoholism and other addictions a disease. So when you start looking at it like a disease, it's like somebody dies from cancer. It's not like, oh, if I would have loved them more, they wouldn't have died from cancer. No, they had a disease. And they, you know, when people say they lost their battle with cancer, I usually say they lost their battle with addiction. Or they lost their battle with mental illness if they commit suicide. It's heartbreaking. It's brutal. But that's the thing where you got to let go of and a support group is really helpful with that. There's online support groups too, if they're not in your area. If you go to alanon.org, I don't know, it might be .org/AU or something where you live, but alanon.org is the American site. And just Google support groups, you know. I had a relative OD support groups. There might be them. I doubt you're the only one in your area. And if there aren't support groups in your area, I guarantee there's online support groups. That I can guarantee. And talk about that. And you can hear other people that went through what you went through saying, oh, I felt guilty and bad. I should have done more. But here's how I got through that. You know? Here's how I got through that. So I hope you get, you know, they have to want to get help or they won't. And it's tough. Good. I hope you look into it, Vegan Trove. It's the toughest thing. It is the toughest thing when you see someone. My ex came to me and she said, I feel like my life's out of control. And I say, go to meetings. I'll go with you. Get help. And she said, no. And she shot down all of the ideas. And then the conversation turned to her blaming me for everything. And then it got violent. She said, fuck you, got in my face. And nothing I could have done. I've replayed that conversation in my head over and over and over. And I realized there's nothing I could have done. There's nothing I could have done. I offered her help. And she said no. And then she just started blaming me for everything, brought up all this stuff I had never heard of. I must have said, I'm sorry. I had no idea, like a dozen times in that conversation. All this stuff all this stuff I had no idea. But that's what addicts do. They blame, it's everybody else's fault. because they don't want to face the fact that they're out of control. There's nothing you can do. It sucks. One side of my, this is from Chris Wynn. One side of my girlfriend's family has had so much trauma with drugs and alcohol that she had to cut off contact with them for over 10 years. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. And sometimes you got to cut people off. If they're in that addiction or they're unrecovered and you got to cut them off sometimes, because the chaos that surrounds that, I had to get my ex-girlfriend out of here. She was violent and out of control. And then she started showing up at a local comedy club and I had to get a restraining order. It's just like, and they've protected her. It's fucking brutal. So I've just had to go, nope. It's hard. It makes you feel like you're crazy. You feel nuts. Because you're just like, why won't you do this thing? And they say and do crazy shit. They lie. They tell you the sky is green. And you're like, no, it's blue. And they're like, oh, you're the problem because you think it's blue. And you're like, it's blue. And you feel like you're nuts. They gaslight you. They do all this fucking insane shit, man. Ugh, it's brutal. Aline Bavacqua. My nephew had a terrible heroin addiction. He is in rehabs 4 or 5 times. He said, Crantum helps. You can buy it online. He's been clean for 4 years now. Thank you. Yep. Oh, you've had to cut loose friends that are trying to get you into heroin. God. Anyone comes at you with that shit, man. Jeremy Walker just put a link up, smartrecovery.com. So check that out, Vegan Trove. It's just right up there. Let's see if I can, is there a way I can? No, I can't like highlight it, but just look at Jeremy Walker, just put a thing up there. Great. Andrew Sweet, yeah, get Kratom if you can get your paws on. I don't know, Andrew. I don't be afraid to ask for help, man. Sounds like there's a lot of people right here to be willing to help. If you got people in your area or friends or not, to slowly wean off that painkiller shit. That's brutal, man. I'm sorry you're going through that. I think it's actually .org. Smartrecovery.org. There you go. Yeah. It's great to see everybody joining in and caring. I'm getting emotional, but it's like, this is what this is all about, man. Like a progressive community. We're all here because we give a shit about the world, about our government, about our politics, and about someone who's struggling with getting off painkillers, and someone who many of you have lost family members or friends. That's people give a shit. It's like, it's a cool thing. I'm sorry you're all going through difficult shit, but the upside is to see everybody give a shit. It's really cool. I gotta go. I'm not leaving because I'm afraid to cry in front of people. I cry all the time. I'm a big crybaby. Yeah, man, this was fantastic. So go to grahamelwood.com, guys. Here's smartrecovery.org, the link again. Wild lettuce, right? Layered life. I would love to help anyone here. Losing people to suicide has big downfalls for me. After losing 2 brothers, I'm working on overcoming my alcohol addiction, and this community helps. Layered life. Yeah, reach out to each other, guys. Go to this website, go to these support groups, man. I get a lot out of in-person support groups. I get a lot out of them. There's great online support groups. There's help out there. Go ask for it. Go grab it. And it sounds like there's a lot of resources right here. Do Irish people cry more? I don't know. It's called the. Yeah, Marsha, we need to be more with each other through these hard times. Yeah, man, my pleasure for opening this dialogue. You know, I'm going to talk publicly about some stuff I've had to go through at some point. I'm going to do like a blog post because I want to open up a dialogue about some stuff. It has a sort of a Me Too slant to it. But I want to thank all of the folks that supported the channel, all the super chatters, Plantastic Life. Thank you so much, Dominic. Aline Bavacqua, right on. David Wint, Extinction Rebellion, Redneck Economics, Stevie, have fun down in Cali. Look me up. I'll take you to some places. It'll be fun. David Wint again, talking about Extinction Rebellion. Mr. T Jr., boom. I Pity the Fool. Natural Progressive. Thank you, Chris. Check out my interview with her about LDS trying to rewrite the law on medical marijuana. It's pretty fantastic. Schultze 100. Thank you. Shave the knuckles, baby. Shave them all day, all night. And then the folks at Streamlabs. Marsha Smith. Marsha, thank you so much. You're a sweetheart. We'll see you at the next Stay in Your Lane comedy show, guys, December 24th. At the Corbin Bowl in beautiful Encino. So check that out. You guys for thanking out, and thank you for being there for each other. And, you know, it's this type of community that will make a change, will make a difference. I know we all feel alone at times, just being progressives in this crazy world. And then if you're having to deal with anything else like addiction or a family member with addiction, you really feel alone. You're not alone. Go get help. Reach out to people. Go to support groups, online, in person. There's phone support groups. There's all kinds of resources out there. The most courageous thing you can do is ask for help. I know we have this, especially in America, suck it up, especially as a man. No, I got it. I got it. No. Ask for help. It is the most courageous thing you can do. So thank you all so much. Shave your knuckles. And thank you all for making Gotham great again. Peace.